All right, so I'm here in Grand Rapids on Saturday. What day is today? 20th. Okay, so RNC just ended. Fabulous time at RNC. I can tell you so much love for Donald Trump at the RNC, but there are so many patriots here. I just walked. I'm going to flip the camera around so you can just see what the line. So this line goes all the way down there and does all this serpentine. There are so many people here, and if you call that a stream, I was just like a salmon. I walked that whole thing. I shook hands with everybody who was in that line. I spent a lot of the RNC talking with the press. Today, I just want to talk with the Patriots. So much love for Donald Trump in Milwaukee. I think we're going to have 5 times the love for him here. I just could not go home after that rally in Butler. Saw this one on the calendar, changed my plans, had to come here. So glad I'm here. So many Patriots. We're going to kick off this campaign. We're not going to give up. And just like he says, just like Donald Trump says, make your plan to vote early in person. If you got a state where you do mail-in, that works for you. Day of, but make your plan to vote. Stick with it and get other people to vote as well. If we keep our nose to the grindstone here, pedal to the floor, no brakes, we've got this. All right, everybody, take care. We'll see you around.
Donald Trump, man. This man is a legit soldier. Already out having another rally, man. It ain't even been 3 weeks. What? Yeah, it ain't even, bro, it's barely been above a week. We ain't even made it to 2 weeks since. Dog, that goes to show you the resilience of this man and the strength of this man. Just like Dana White was just saying, he's one of the strongest men that he knows Trump that is. And usually anybody who mentions Donald Trump has the same sentiment. But Grand Rapids, y'all see that they're getting together to make America great again. And there's so many first-time rally goers there, and the energy there is just is unmatched. And mind you, this is going on later today. If you're watching this in the future, you like, yo, what? That doesn't matter. Anyhow, it's happening a little bit later, so we're gonna cover that. But I wanted to give y'all that to get y'all to this part right here. Now, the ER doctor at the Trump rally where he ended up getting shot in the ear. This ER doctor just gave the most heartbreaking interview, man. Everybody got to watch this, and rest in peace to Corey.
Dr. Jim Sweetland, an ER physician, was at the scene of last night's rally when he witnessed the shooting. He said he administered aid to a spectator who was gravely hurt. Dr. Sweetland, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Doctor, can you just relay your experience of what happened to you, and have you ever been in a live kind of situation like this, obviously in the ER, but I mean out in the field with this kind of thing happening?
To answer first, the second question first, I've never been in a live shooting arena before. I've had no combat experience. I was on the left bandstand as you're facing Donald Trump on the stage. I was underneath the Jumbotron. And he was showing the graphic about immigration. And we were turned to look at it, my friend and I, Gary Shelley. And I heard 3 pops, actually, pop, 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 then a pause, and then 4 others, pop, 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 pop. I turned to see the president entirely covered by Secret Service. And to my right, down in the same bandstand, was a woman shouting out, "He's been shot. He's down." And I turned my attention to her. Other individuals in the bandstand were sheltering, and I made my way over to that individual and administered CPR. And as you might guess, when I first arrived, I said, "I'm a doctor," and nobody believed me. And then I said, "I'm an ER physician. Could you help me get this man up on the bench?" He had been shot in the head, body had twisted as he fell. Everybody in the bandstand was standing at that time, so I assumed he was. 2 individuals that were in shock themselves looked at me and got up and helped me get him back on a bench so I could administer CPR. Unfortunately, the man had a gunshot wound just above his ear, had no pulse and no respirations. And so I started to administer CPR to him as well as giving him rescue breathing. And I did so for about 2 minutes. And then I was tapped on the shoulder, and two of the biggest Pennsylvania State Police officers I've ever seen were behind me, and they said, "We'll take him." And they picked him up, unfortunately, like a rag doll, and took him from the stands. I looked up to see his family, who had witnessed my efforts at resuscitation, and the look on their faces said it all. My heart goes out to that family. My prayers go out with them. I'm sorry, I was in shock yesterday. The gravity of that situation is hitting me right now.
Well, of course, and we thank you for helping us understand the situation and your reaction to it and what you went through. Doctor, you see this kind of thing all the time, I would imagine, in your day job. But this was clearly something.
I'm not gonna lie, I really had to get that woo out and bring myself back to the center, man, because that almost choked me up. I'm not gonna lie. It's really sad, man. It's really heartbreaking to hear this. And to everybody who said that this was staged, man, shame on you. Shame on you.
Different.
I'm sorry, let me rewind it a little bit so we can get his question out completely.
Of course, and we thank you for helping us understand the situation and your reaction to it and what you went through. Doctor, you see this kind of thing all the time, I would imagine, in your day job. But this was clearly something different. Your training kicked in, but tell us about how this differs from what you have to do every day, which is deal with life and death as you face it in the ER.
The difference was I was a first responder in that moment. And a shout out to all the inmates that go out in the field and perform that duty every day and then bring them into me stabilized in the emergency department. This was raw. There was blood. There was brain matter around this man. And he needed immediate help. That's the difference. And I can't say enough about the people that were there willing to help somebody else, another American who was shot. And certainly that was a young gentleman. I think he was in his 30s. I think he was there with his wife and his child. And I think he was just there to enjoy a beautiful sunny day and be there to enjoy this rally. This was the first Trump rally I've ever been to. And I'm so happy that there were people there that helped. Yeah. If I can comment, later on I was walking and I was a bit in shock, and there's a video of me with blood on my face and blood on my shirt. And as I'm walking along, I get interviewed. Just after that interview, there was an Army combat veteran just off the screen. And he came up to me immediately afterwards and leaned into me and said, "Brother, you got blood on your face. Here's water." I washed it off. Then I handed him the bottle back, and he said to me, he put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Brother, are you okay?" That's what it's all about for me, for America. Speaking out and helping others that are in need. As much as I helped that gentleman, that Army vet helped me.
Dr. Jim Sweetland, thank you so much for your actions and for being with us this morning.
You're welcome.
We really appreciate it.
Definitely. The first thought I guess I'll say I have is immediately start thinking about everybody who's saying that this is staged and Donald Trump is just doing this for his own personal gain, this, that, and the third. Like, I immediately start to, rattle in my mind and just infuriate me, because I'm just like, wow, man, the heartlessness of these people. The heartlessness of these people in this world right now is just sickening, man. Like, to sit there and think somebody would risk taking their own life just to gain more popularity, and in addition to that, risking other people's lives in order to gain that popularity. Man, no, bro, no. I don't see how anybody could sit back and say, "Oh, this was a scam, this, that, and the third." You know what I'm saying? Like, and I also have to say that my heart goes out to the families that were affected by this. And you can just see the pain in his eyes. The pain in his eyes, just how real it was. And obviously he comes across, you know, this life and death situation every single day as a doctor. But the scenario was clearly traumatizing to him. And honestly, when it all went down, it shocked me. I was getting ready to go into a ball full of tears. Honestly, it was like, whoa. And then when I found out he was all right, man, it was just like this sigh of relief. But it was this realization that, like, yo, man, like, this guy who's really fighting for what's right, in my opinion, fighting for what I believe in, they really tried to X him out. And of course, we heard about this being a possibility through the grapevine. We know that it was leading up to this, being that they couldn't put damage on his reputation. They couldn't financially break him, nor could they break him down in court. You know what I'm saying? So what else would they do? They couldn't get him in jail. So what else would they do? We know what would come of this, but this is heartbreaking to say the least. What happened to Donald Trump was not something that should be celebrated, and we have so many people across the world celebrating and, oh, I'm mad he missed, and this, that, and the third, woo, woo, woo. You know, how on one hand you mad that he missed, but on the other hand you think it's staged? It don't make sense. It don't make sense, man. It really doesn't. And as far as the brave man whose life was taken, Corey, prayers for this hero's family, you know. Rest in peace to you, Corey, and may God rest your soul. And we all recognize that this is a horrible tragedy, and my heart goes out to this family. And again, may God protect their hearts and their minds as they process this.